So, yeah, so today we had no work here at Soul Prince, but I'm here with these changos. And the reason why we're in here is because we were having trouble with this machine right here. The thing that was going on, if you guys ever experienced trouble with the automatics, the machine will lock with the reset, but when you hit the manual automatic button to index, it wouldn't stop. So we came down here to take a look at the functions of the machine, and when we moved the whole carousel up and down, we noticed that we were missing this screw that goes in here. So this is basically supposed to be connected to that right there, and it broke off. So we need to get the part number for this, whatever you call it, that connects to that, and that will fix our issue. Now at first it was hard to realize what was going on because that was pushed all the way like that, and it looked like it was connected, but it wasn't. So that is a pretty common part of the machine that breaks. So if you guys ever experience a problem with the automatic, with the thing not indexing, that could be it. The other thing that I checked, we have these two valves right here. Sometimes with the movement, the wiring that goes inside of these, it breaks off because they move up and down so much. So you can always open them up and then plug in all the wires where they're supposed to go. So those are little things that I know how to fix with the automatics, just so you guys know. From here we're gonna go back to our shop and work on that 6 color that I talked about yesterday. So let's finish working on this and then we'll head over to my shop.
It's 106 for the water.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. I don't need water. All right. So what happened at the shop with Juan was that part that broke off didn't have a part number. So we ended up texting some pictures to our friends to see if they can give us the name of that part so that we can order it. Once they do that, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and go back to my regular schedule. And when that part comes in, I'm gonna install it. But we're in here to set up that 6 color. So I gotta leave this screen up because shirts are selling for that one, the camelback design. I'm taking down the rest of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin burning that 6 color so that you guys can see the whole process of the burning. I'm probably gonna do 2 because it's just repetitive for every other screen. And then we're gonna come over here and show you guys how to set it up. So let's get started.
Papi,
Nada, ¿qué estás haciendo?
viéndole. Ya.
YouTube Kids?
Sí,
¿Te gusta?
sí,
¿Te gusta el shop de papi?
sí.
Okay, thank you, Cosi. High five. So I have mentioned a couple of times when I take down my stuff how I like to have just kind of like my inks around here and taping my screens the way that I like it so that it's super easy for me to break down the job that I have on there previously. So that's pretty much what I do for every single screen. So I have the gray right there. The black is on the gallon, so I have it back there. Then we have the gray, the green, we have the black again, and then this gold shimmer. So once I take all this stuff down, I'm gonna put all the inks away, wipe them down, and put them back where they belong. So for those who like to follow the channel and like to learn how the process of all this works with keeping it clean at the same time, just keep in mind some of these tips because putting back your inks and keeping your machine clean and your screens clean at the same time is gonna make you wanna like screen printing even more. So pay attention to that stuff. Limpiando los cuadros. So it's that simple. So check this out. There's no ink anywhere on the screen. And because we taped all the way around it, all we have to clean is that little bit, get the emulsion off, and then degrease it, and we're good to go. So super simple, very clean. We don't get the squeegee as dirty. And these were screens that people that came to the event were using. So, I mean, they weren't even that bad for people that don't know how to print. So if you know how to print, then you should be able to take care of your stuff without getting it all dirty. All right, you guys, so we got the films ready. We printed them yesterday. You guys saw that. Jeremiah's in the building, taking care of business. Jeremiah, say hi.
What it do, what it do?
There you go.
Taking care of business.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Getting too excited over there. All right, so check this out, you guys. I'm gonna grab the first screen and then figure out where I want to burn it, because it's such a tall design that I might not do it at my regular 5 inches down, just to make sure that we have some room at the bottom of the screen for the squeegee. So let's go ahead and grab the tallest one that we have, which would be this one. So, bright blue. Let me go grab my T-square and I'll be right back. Alright, so check this out. If I was to go 5 inches down like I normally do on this design, it's not going to give me a lot of room back here for the squeegee to rest with the ink. So I'm just going to bump it up 1 inch, and we're going to burn all of these screens at the 4-inch marker. So that leaves us with a bigger gap back here to rest the squeegee with the ink. And we're just going to repeat the same sequence for all 6 films. And I think we're just gonna go with 160 on every single color, and we're gonna throw the black on a 180. So the way I do it is I like to go 4 inches down, and then we go to the center, which on mine is 9 3/4. I know it's weird, but that's what it is. So we go 9 3/4, then 4 inches down. We line up this registration mark with that registration mark, so now we know that it's straight. We're gonna tape it down and burn everything at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So once I have all the screens burnt, I'm gonna come back out there. I'm gonna tape all the screens and start setting up so that you guys can see how I take care of that. All right, it's about that time, you guys, where we set up the 6 color. All the screens have been burnt, they're dry. So I'm gonna grab the white and start setting up with the white, because most of the colors fall on top of this. White right here has an underbase, obviously except for the black, because that doesn't need a white underneath. And I'm gonna bring it over to the machine and then start with that one, tape it up, print the Pallet on, tape the Pallet on, and then bring the rest of them in so we can have the design come together as we go through all the rest of the screens. We got the screen here on the press, and I brought the lights so that you guys can see what's going on. I drew these lines on my pallet when I put my pallet peel on, to make sure that I have my center line. And then on each of my boards, oh, let me bring this up. On each of my boards, I write these 3 little lines, which is 1 inch apart, because sometimes when I'm loading some shirts and I'm about a finger in, I have some measurements so that it's accurate every single time. But since I always set up with pallet number 1, which is the one that has the tape over here, we're gonna set up the base. And these lines sometimes help you out set up without the T-square, and sometimes they don't, but in this case they will. So we have our registration mark on the bottom that's down the center line with the one that's on the top. And then the registration marks are also straight. So we're gonna go ahead and lock this in. Remember to have your screen right under this bar so that you have a nice grip. And then once we tape it and we print the first test print on the Pallet to set up the rest of them, I'm gonna show you guys how to line everything up. All right, so now that we have all of our sides secure for the ink to not go through where there's no emulsion, we're gonna go ahead and put ink in here, run it down, and then print our sample so we can line up the rest of the colors. Check this out. For tacking down this Pallet, I don't like to use the liquid glue because it's not very effective. But then again, I don't like to use this glue for the t-shirts, so I use the liquid glue because it's more effective for the t-shirts. And this likes to just kind of like fly off and stick everywhere, so when you move your shirts around, the lint that falls off the shirts goes and sticks to wherever this landed. So I don't like to use this very much. So just enough to stick the Pallet. That's it. All right, so we got the first print on the Pallet, so now we're gonna bring in the tape. We're gonna tape this. A lot of people have asked me in the past if I dry this before I tape it, and I do not. The reason why I don't dry it up, it's because the Pallet's gonna shrink on you, and it's gonna give you a false reading on the rest of the colors, so you wanna keep it fresh. You wanna keep everything the size that it's supposed to be. And the reason for the tape is so that once you have it all taped up, you bring in your screen, you print over the tape, and if for some reason it's not registered, you can always wipe it off with a rag and then move your screen around to make sure you line everything up. So let's go ahead and tape it up, and then we'll show you guys how to line the rest of the screens up. So for everyone who's been asking me about this tape that I use, the 3-inch boxing tape, we're gonna be able to have it available at AST here pretty soon, hopefully. Maybe. I know I said we're gonna have it hopefully there, but it's not guaranteed. I'm trying to push it so that they can order it, and it's easy for you guys to just go online and get a roll or get a pack of 6 or a whole box from them. It's a very common question that I have about that tape because everybody likes it and they see how easy it is for me to reclaim the screens when it's time to reclaim them, because this tape doesn't pull on the emulsion even after cleaning it with 480 or whatever it is that you use. So it's very good, and it doesn't leave a lot of that glue behind the screen after a while. So hopefully AST will carry this pretty soon so that you guys can order it. I always have a link for their Instagram and their website below, so you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and check out that website and see what they got to offer. Maybe you guys should go in there and ask them for it. Maybe that'll push it so they can bring it in, and it's easy for you guys to access this tape. I'm ready to start lining up all my screens. I got it on my machine. This is gonna be the black ink. So if you guys don't use the registration marks, you guys are gonna have a really hard time trying to figure out how to line this up. But the way I do it with these registration marks is super easy. So because I have my registration marks, I just gotta line them up. I got 2 up here. We have the center one and the one at the bottom. We also can take a look at the design to make sure that everything is in place. You know, I've had people ask me why I tap when I go like this. It's just to bring it in closer. Sometimes when you're trying to line it up, you know, you move it over too much. So if you tap it lightly, you kind of bring it into place and you line up those registration dots. So here it goes one more time. All right, so there it is. Now we're gonna just lock it in and keep going with the rest of the colors. So it's basically the same process for every single screen. All the registration marks line up, and when they line up, they bring the design together. So that's how you bring all 6 colors together at the same time. And what I like to do to double check and make sure that my design is lined up, I like to lift the screen and bring it back down to make sure it doesn't go off registration. And it looks pretty good, so we're just gonna tape it up, put the right ink on there, print the sample, make sure that everything looks good in here, and then figure out in what sequence we want to print these shirts. Sometimes the best thing to do is to go from the lightest to the darkest. Right now we have a base for this color, so for this design. So we're gonna print the base first, and then we're gonna start throwing the colors on top. So it doesn't always work out that way, but depending on your logo, you can do it different. As long as you have a good outcome, that's all that matters. But this is basically the way to line up. Even if you have a 20 color, it doesn't matter. So once you print it, lift the screen, make sure everything's lined up. If it's not, you wipe off your ink, and then you line it up again until you get it registered. I'm gonna start printing all the colors on top of the base, and as I go, I'm gonna tape over the colors so that you guys can see the whole thing come together. There it is, you guys. That's all the colors coming together. All the registration looks fire. So that's how you set up a 6 color. Oh damn. That's nasty. Woo! That's how you set up a 6 color. You want to tape up your base and then set up the rest of the colors. Make sure you tape everything up. Make sure you got the right colors in the right screen, and you should have a final result like this one. So thank you guys for watching. Today we didn't work at Soul Prints, so we have a gang of people here at my shop, like Cassidy, my wife, and the usual. Yep, Moto Toto.